So today we will be discussing regarding how the process of reproduction takes place in plant. So the today's topic is reproduction in plants. See children here. So what are the reproductive parts of a plant? So here already you have studied in your lower classes that there are different parts of a plant, isn't it so? So you have seen what are those? They are roots, stem, leaves, flowers, etc. isn't it? So flower is considered to be as the reproductive part of a plant, whereas the remaining parts such as roots, leaves, stems, they are called as the vegetative parts of the plant. So what is flower? How the reproductive organs are present in it? How the process of reproduction takes place? All these things we will be seeing in detail in this session. So here see children, what do you mean by flower? So flowers, they are the reproductive part of the most of the plants. It is inside the flower the seeds start to grow and their petals are very colorful. Why they are colorful? So that they can attract the insects. So here different types of flowers are there. They will be having different colors, isn't it? So you might have seen roses, they are of different colors, isn't it? Jasmine, marigold, sunflower, all these are different types of flower. And you know the largest flower is Rafflesia. It is the biggest flower which will be emitting the smell of meat, rotten meat smell. So that is the biggest flower. So like this in nature there are different types of flowers are there. So they are very colorful, they are very attractive. Now here see children, the flowers consist of different parts. So what are the different parts of a flower? You see here it is having different parts. So what are the parts? Ovary, anther, pistil, stamen, petals, sepals, bracts, etc. So we will be seeing in detail about each and every part. See here, so which flower is this children? This is the longitudinal section of a datura flower. So have you seen datura flower? It is of white color or slightly violet in color. So when we have a longitudinal section of this flower, these are the different parts which are present in that. What are the different parts? See here children, the basal portion is called as stalk and above that it is having thalamus and it includes sepals, petals, stigma, anther, stamen, style, ovary. So these are the different floral parts. Now we will be seeing in detail each and every part. What is its function? How is it present? What are the uses of it? That we will be seeing in detail. So pedicel. Pedicel means nothing but it is called as stalk of a flower. So the basal portion of the stalk of a flower is called as pedicel. And above the pedicel, the portion which is swollen, that swollen portion is called as thalamus. This thalamus, it is nothing but the seat of the floral organs. So different floral parts are present over the thalamus. The next one is calyx. Calyx is the outermost part of the flower and it is which colored? Green colored. Sepals are present in it. The next whorl is corolla. It is the second whorl of the flower and it has colorful petals. See children, stamen. Stamens are the male parts of the flower and it includes anther. Anther is nothing but the sac-like structure which has filament and pollen grains are present in it. And the last part of the flower, that is pistil, it is called as the female part of the flower. What does it has? It has ovary. What does the ovary has? It has ovules. So eggs are present here and they will be converted. This ovary is converted into fruit. Have you understood children? Types of flowers. Flowers are of different types. They are unisexual flowers and bisexual flowers. Along with that, it also includes complete flower and incomplete flower. So here children, we have already seen that flowers, they will be having different parts, isn't it so? Out of that, male part is there, androecium, female part is there called as gynoecium. If both androecium and gynoecium, if they are present in one flower, then it is called as bisexual flower. That means two sexes are present in that. Is it clear children? Then what is meant by unisexual flower? it is having only one part, that is either male flower it is or it is a female flower. Is it clear, children? That means it has only androecium or gynoecium. If only one sex organ is present, then they are called as unisexual flowers. If both the sexes are present, then they are called as bisexual flowers. See here in detail once again. Unisexual flower, a flower which has either androecium or gynoecium is called as unisexual flower. Example, cucumber, bottle gourd, bitter gourd, etc. Bisexual flower, a flower which has both androecium and gynoecium, both are present in it, that is called as bisexual flower. Example, datura, hibiscus, ipomea, etc. Now let us see what is meant by a complete flower and incomplete flower. I in the beginning said that a flower has 4 floral organs, isn't it so? If all the floral organs are present, then it is called as complete flower. If any one of the floral organ is missing, if it is not present, then it is called as incomplete flower. So let us see here exactly what does it mean by complete and as well as incomplete flower. A complete flower means nothing but a flower with all 4 whorls. What are the 4 whorls? Calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. If all these 4 are present, then it is called as a complete flower. Example is datura, ipomea, hibiscus. Mostly complete flowers are nothing but the bisexual flowers, isn't it, children? Yes. Now, what do you mean by incomplete flower? A flower in which any one of the whorl or any one of the floral organs are missing, then it is called as incomplete flower. Example, cucumber, bottle gourd, papaya, etc. That is nothing but unisexual flowers are incomplete flowers because any one of the floral organ is missing in it. That is why unisexual flowers are considered to be as the incomplete flowers. Hope you have understood, children. See here, children, a video is being played to understand the different floral organs. This is a flower. Have you seen? So this is called as the Swarnaganeru. So this flower, it includes different parts. So the stalk of the flower is called as pedicel and it has floral organs over it. They are arranged in the form of whorls. So here calyx is present, all are present. Let us see clearly in another flower here. See, it is somewhat big flower. You can observe it clearly, the different parts of the flower, children. Observe carefully. So here this is a hibiscus flower. It is having a stalk called as pedicel. The first floral organ is called as calyx. It includes green color sepals. They are helpful for the protection. The second whorl is corolla. Corolla includes petals. Petals are of different colors. They may be red, yellow, pink, white, and they also give good smell. What is the reason for it? So that they can attract the insects for the process of pollination. So what is pollination? We will see next. The first one is calyx, second one is corolla. Now the third whorl of the flower, observe carefully, children. See here, the third whorl of the flower is called as androecium. So this androecium, see that one? That is nothing but the male reproductive organ of a flower. It includes different parts, stamens, filaments and anther. Inside the anther, pollen grains are present. The last one, this is called as gynoecium. Gynoecium, it is having pistil. Pistil have basal, ovary and a long tube-like structure. This long tube-like structure is called as a style and the tip portion is called as stigma. So here that tip portion is called as stigma and over the stigma only the pollen grains will fall and they will be moving inside the ovary. Is it clear, children? So these are the 4 floral organs. Now here what you do is you take a flower at your home, any flower, and you cut open it and you see that all these 4 floral organs are present or not. If they are present, then it is a complete flower. If they are not present, then it is an incomplete flower. Let us see what do you mean by pollination. See children here, pollination means nothing but transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of a flower. That process is called as pollination, and it is the first step in the process of seed formation. You know where pollen grains are present? Pollen grains, they are present in male reproductive part. What is the male reproductive part? Stamens. In the stamen, the anthers will be present. Inside the anther, pollen grains are present. These pollen grains, they will be moving from anther to the female reproductive part, that is stigma, and that movement is called as pollination. Pollination means nothing but transfer of pollen grain from anther to the stigma. And how this pollination can be done? It may be done in the same flower or in the different flowers. If it is in the same flower, means the flower should be a bisexual or unisexual? It is bisexual. So here in a bisexual flower, what happens? The pollen grains from anther, they move to the stigma. So that is in the same flower. If it is in the different flowers, the pollen will be moving from one flower to the another flower. So depending upon whether pollination takes place in the same flower or in the different flowers, the pollination is divided into two types. What are those? Self-pollination and cross-pollination. So let us see here what is meant by this. Self-pollination means nothing but transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of the same flower. I am stressing here same flower. Within the same flower, if the pollen is transferred, then it is called as self-pollination. So here pollination, if it occurs in the same flower, it is called as self-pollination. If the pollination occurs in two different flowers, that means anther will be present in one flower, stigma will be present in another flower, the pollen grains will be transferring from one flower to another flower, then this is called as cross-pollination. See here children, transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of another flower is called as cross-pollination. See here how the pollination is occurring here. See in the first figure, inside the same flower, the pollen grains are being transferred. So these are pollen grains, they are moving to the stigma. So in the same flower, the transfer of pollen grains takes place. So this is which pollination children? Self-pollination. Now see the second one. Here the pollen grains of one flower, they are transferring to the another flower. So two different flowers, another flower. So this pollination is called as cross-pollination. See here, here also within the same flower. So this is self-pollination. Two flowers but in the same plant. So this is also self. So here it will be occurring, the transfer of pollen grains will be taking place. How they will be transferred? There see in the first figure, it is transferred by some bat. Second one, you see here some insects. Here some insect is there. Here some bird is there, isn't it? So like this, the pollen grains will be transferring from one place to another place. So children, have you ever thought that how the pollen grains will be moving, isn't it so? So here they don't have any legs, they cannot move from one place to another place. Like us, we have legs, we will be moving, but pollen grains don't have any legs. So how they will be moving? With the help of some insects, some birds, water, air and all those things. But they are called as agents of pollination. So we will be seeing now what are the different agents of pollination and in which type of flowers which agent will be helping in transferring the pollen grains. Are you ready children? See here the next one, wind. The first one is wind. Wind will be blowing the pollen grain from anther to stigma of one flower to another flower. With the help of wind, they will be moving. So here, what are the features to be present in the flowers so that they will be helping in the wind pollination? The first one is the flower should be small and it should not be brightly colored and it should not produce nectar. And how the pollen grain should be? They should be very light because wind has to take it, and they should be produced in large numbers. So where the wind pollination takes place? Pollination in wheat, rice and as well as maize. The second one is here water. So pollen grains are released in the water and they are carried by the water from one flower to the another flower. So examples, aquatic plants such as seagrass and Vallisneria. So water is also one of the agent for the pollination. The next one is insects. So insects, whenever they will be helping for the process of pollination, either the flower should be very attractive and it should provide nectar for them. See here children, insects will be visiting the flowers for nectar. Some pollen grains stick to their body parts, and when these insects visit to another flower, the pollen grains fall on the stigma and help in the process of pollination. So which flowers, see what are the features should be present so that the insects will be attracted. See here children, features of the flowers, they should give sweet smell so that they can attract the insects, and they should be brightly colored. For diurnal insects, diurnal means the insects which are moving daytime, they are called as diurnal insects. Brightly colored petals, so in which plants it will be present? Rose, sunflower, etc. And the next one is white or light green petals should be present for the nocturnal insects. Nocturnal insects means those will be moving during the night time. Examples, jasmine, cacti, etc. And the flowers should be rich in nectar. And how the pollen grains should be? They should be having the nature of sticking to the body of the insects. So these are the features of flowers and as well as the pollen grains, so that the insects help in the process of pollination. Here there are two types of reproductions are there in plants, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. So here, have you ever observed how do we get a small new plant children? So when you put the seed, when you pour the water, slowly small plant will be coming out, isn't it so? So here seed help in production of a new plant. So this one you know it, but all the plants will be coming from the seeds only? No, it is not like that. So we will be seeing now here asexual reproduction. What is meant by asexual reproduction? The production of a new plant without involving male and female reproductive organs. So there is no usage of these male and female reproductive organs for the production of a new plant. So that type of reproduction is called as asexual reproduction. First one in asexual reproduction is vegetative reproduction. What is meant by vegetative reproduction? The production of new plants from vegetative parts of the plant. What are vegetative parts? What are those? Other than flower, the remaining parts, roots, leaves, stem, branches, buds, all these are called as vegetative parts. So a new plant is produced from the vegetative parts of the plant. That type of reproduction is called as vegetative reproduction, and this vegetative reproduction is one type of asexual reproduction because there is no involvement of reproductive organs here. See here, potatoes. How potatoes reproduce? They will be reproducing by using tubers. So here, have you seen potatoes children, which normally sometimes you will be getting white colored structures, sprouts like structures will be coming, isn't it? So those structures, they are called as eyes. What they are called as? Eyes. So now here, if you cut that eye part, that part of eye, and if you sow it in the soil, then you will be getting a new potato plant. So here, that is nothing but some vegetative part is helpful in getting a new plant. Here potato seeds are not present, isn't it? So from the vegetative part it is getting, so this is called as vegetative propagation. Now see the next one, leaves. Some of the plants such as bryophyllum, this is the plant here and this is the leaf, and over the leaf here the margins are present. In the margins what happens, small roots will develop and small plants will develop, and these are called as leaf buds. And if we cut this leaf bud and if you sow it in the soil, then you will be getting a new bryophyllum plant. So here the reproduction is occurring with the help of leaves. So leaf is a vegetative part. So this is a vegetative reproduction. See here children, stem cuttings of roses. This is also with the help of stem cuttings a new plant is produced. So this is cutting is also one type of vegetative propagation. Money plant, and here you can see grass, and this is bryophyllum, this is cactus, this is potato. All these are nothing but the plants which will be producing new plants with the help of vegetative propagation. Here also some more examples are given. See here, all these are the examples where the process of asexual reproduction takes place. The process of reproduction where there is no involvement of male and female reproductive organs of a flower. Another type of asexual reproduction, that is called as budding. Budding is also one type of asexual reproduction which occurs in yeast cells. Yeast. In this method, a small projection called bud is formed on the yeast cell. So, this is the yeast cell, a small projection called as bud is formed here, and the bud grows and becomes a new yeast cell, and this new yeast cells also grows and produces more number of yeast cells. Fragmentation. Fragmentation, this type of asexual reproduction occurs in algae. The name of the algae is Spirogyra. So, in this method what happens, a plant will be breaking into two or more fragments and each fragment will be developing into a new plant. So, this is called as fragmentation. The next one here is spore formation. Spore formation, this type of asexual reproduction occurs in fungus where they will be producing spores, and when these spores, when this is what we say here sporangiophore, when it breaks and when the spore falls on the ground, when the conditions are favorable, a new plant will be developed. So, this is also one type of asexual reproduction. Now, let us see regarding sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction means nothing but the process of reproduction where the involvement of male and female reproductive parts of a flower or a plant takes place. So, here what is the male reproductive part? Andrecium. What is the female reproductive part? Gynoecium. See here children. See here children, reproductive parts of a flower are given. There are male organs and female organs, stamens and carpel. And you can see clearly here this anther and filaments are present in the stamen. So, this is the stamen structure. It includes anther and as well as the filament. And this is the structure of carpel, that is it includes basal swollen portion called as the ovary and a long tube like structure called as style, and the tip portion is called as stigma. Remember one point here children, pollen grains are called as male gametes, and these stamens, they are of having different types. There are different shapes of stamens are there. See here, female reproductive organ, I said that it is called as carpel or pistil. It includes ovary. Ovary will be having ovules inside it, and it is having ovules will be having female germ cells, that is called as egg cell, and pollen tube, where it is coming from? It is coming from the male reproductive part. Here pistils are of different types children. See here, there are different types of pistils are there in different types of flowers. So, the next one is what is meant by fertilization. In fertilization process, the pollen grain and as well as here inside the pollen grain the cell which is present, and inside the ovule the egg cell which is present, the union of these will be taking place and it results in the formation of a zygote which develops into a new plant, that is called as the process of fertilization. Fusion of male and female gametes is called as fertilization. Where does it occurs? It occurs inside the ovule. Where is ovule present? Ovule is present inside the ovary. After fertilization, the zygote, it develops into embryo, and the ovule, it develops into seed, and the ovary develops into fruit. So, this type of reproduction where the union of male and female gametes takes place is called as sexual reproduction. These are the mature flowers. These flowers, they will be having different floral organs, but for the reproduction process, sexual reproduction, what are the required male reproductive organs and female reproductive organ? And first process is pollination, that is transfer of pollen grains takes place from anther to stigma. Then here what happens? Fertilization takes place, and after fertilization what happens? Fruits will be formed. The ovary which is present, it develops into fruit, and inside the fruit what is present? Here seeds are present, that is nothing but the ovules develop into seeds. And see here children, who is this? Alexander Fleming. He is a Scottish scientist who discovered a mold called as penicillium, and from which he developed an antibiotic called as penicillin, which can destroy many kinds of disease causing bacteria. Penicillin came to be known as an antibiotic and saved the lives of many soldiers in the World War II. So, he is the famous scientist. Due to him only so many people what we say here lost their different types of diseases and they got rebirth. Is it clear, children? So, for this man has also been awarded the Nobel Prize. So, here let us recapitulate what we have learned. So, from this overall lesson, what are the points which we have learned? Let us recapitulate it here. See, children, flower is the reproductive part of the plant. It consists of sepals, petals, stamens and pistil. Different types of flowers are complete and incomplete flowers, unisexual and bisexual flowers. And two types of reproduction in plants are asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. So, these are the points which we have seen and I hope that you have understood the lesson. So, after understanding this lesson, please read the lesson once again and try to complete the assignment which I am giving now here. See, children, here, improve your learning, differentiate self-pollination and cross-pollination. So, what is meant by self-pollination? What is meant by cross-pollination? You have to differentiate them. The next one is, what are the differences between asexual and sexual reproductions? And the next question is, draw the diagram of a flower and explain its different parts and what are the functions of them. Okay, children. The next one is, define fertilization. What is meant by fertilization? How the process takes place? You can write regarding about this one. The next one is, what happens when more insecticides or pesticides are sprayed? So, children, think over this one. What happens when more insecticides or pesticides are sprayed? What do you mean by insecticide? Insecticide is nothing but a chemical which kills the insects. So, it is creating a problem. So, unnecessarily we should not kill the insects by using more amount of pesticides or insecticide. Other than that, you can go for the naturally useful method which is a good method called as biopesticides. Is it clear, children? So, this is regarding about this lesson, what is known as reproduction in plants. Okay, children, hope you have understood the lesson. Try to complete the assignments. Let us meet in the next session of the digital class. Till then, bye. Thank you.